Okay. Yeah, let's get started. So our workshop will be a 3-day workshop, um, which will cover some basic usage of Unix environment. So specifically in day one, we'll kind of do some basic introduction to the Unix command line, uh, involving like file system navigation and some manipulation of the files and directories. In day two, we'll do some advanced command line, like to learn to use some more advanced command line um, um, scripts such as like awk or grep or SCD. And in day three, we'll touch a little bit on shell scripting, but right now, we have a second part of the introduction to Unix. So that course, we'll talk more about shell scripting as well as like job submission and stuff. Um, so to begin with, does everyone already have a Hoffman 2 account? Yeah. Okay, that's great. Yeah. So then I can skip this part, but just a brief introduction is that if anyone like if your friends or someone else wants to get a Hoffman 2 account, they can start applying from the this webpage. There's a Hoffman 2 documentation. So it's not just the account register or application. There's also a lot of like information about the Hoffman 2 there. So basically pretty much if you have any questions or about like the available tools, available modules, you can find out from there. Yeah. Okay. So how many people are using a Windows laptop and how many people are using a Mac OS? How many people are using Windows today? Okay. Yeah, we have about half. Oh, actually more than half using Windows today. So the rest of you are using Mac uh, OS, I assume. Okay. Okay, nice. Uh, so to access Hoffman toward the Unix environment on a Windows platform, so one way we can do is to download this software called Mobile Xterm. Um, yeah, I think we can all start doing that right now, and like just so that we have everything prepared once we get into the actual Unix environment. I just send out the slides to you via email, so you can also so if you don't want to type in the link, you can also open up that um like PDF and click on it. And for people who's on a Mac OS, you can just try to type in the terminal, like from your search, and you can open up that terminal app. So it's already kind of a pre-installed. So it's slightly easier for the Mac OS users. Just go to you. I think for our purpose, anyone should be fine, but yeah, but I think this one may be a version. Yeah, maybe it's the best. Okay. Okay, nice. Yeah, yeah, you can use that. Yeah, yeah, you can use that. Yeah, so when you switch Windows, you will download that. Has everyone downloaded either the mobile exam or open the terminal already? Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So here it just says that there's other reference book freely available online. So if you want to take a look in the future when you work on your own project, you can click on that. Yeah. But I think most likely you will just need to Google your question, and in pretty much, I think 99% of cases you will find answers. Okay, so what we'll cover today is that, as I mentioned, we'll talk about the interface. So what the interface looks like, what each component of the interface means. And we'll talk about how we can log into the Hoffman 2 cluster. We'll talk about the file systems and file paths and some basic command line tools. So what is Linux or what is Unix? So Unix is a family of multitasking, multi-user computer operating systems. And the Linux was developed later, so after Unix, and try to mimic the Unix system, but it's open source and cheaper. So the advantage of using Linux or Unix is that it's very secure. The system is very stable, and it's very efficient, flexible, and programmer friendly. So basically, we can store a large amount of data there, and a lot of people can work on the data at the same time, and it wouldn't necessarily slow down the whole systems that much. So what it shows here that the operating system family right now, the Linux takes up almost all of the operating system family system share in the supercomputers, and you can see from the bottom figure that the Linux also takes more than half of the operating system shares. Yeah. And what's important for us is that as the data accumulate, especially in the biological fields, that we have a lot of like sequencing data, like DNA sequencing, RNA sequencing, and also like epigenetic data. So as those data accumulate, we need more and more very secure and stable systems to work with, and that's why Linux becomes more and more important right now. And a lot of bioinformatics tools are developed in the Unix environment. So that makes the systems even more important. So that's why we want to learn Linux. Yeah. And the Linux or Unix is also very good at repetitive and tedious works. So you can type in some commands, ask the commands to repeat itself for like say tens of thousands of times. So you wouldn't need to retype those commands again and again. Yeah. And so on the other side of the same thing is that it's also good for reproducible science. So if you repeat something a lot of times with the exact same code, that means your work is reproducible, right? Okay. So how do we interact? How do we interact with a computer or Unix or Linux in this specific example is that in a so imagine if we are in an ideal world that we can just talk to the computer, and if the computer can understand our languages perfectly, then the left part of the figure would be that ideal human-computer interaction. However, that is not the case. Our computer cannot interpret what we say. So then in reality, we need to use some inputs. Like for example, we need to use our keyboard and mouse to interact with the computer. For a graphical, for a like a typical graphical user interface, such as Windows or Mac OS, our inputs would be keyboards as well as our mouse to click. However, for Linux or Unix, it's a command line interface, which means that we only interact with the environment using this terminal, using our keyboard. So there's some benefits or some features of using command line interface. So definitely it will be slightly harder to use the command line interface because you cannot click around. You can and you need to memorize all of the commands before you start the actual project. So that's one con. However, there's a pros. And the first pro is that so you get more control over the files. So for a graphical user interface, the interface is pre-designed for you. So that basically all of the utilities are kind of pre-defined. So you can only use those utilities. However, if you want to control more over the files, then you will need to switch the command line interface. And it also requires less system resources because it doesn't need to show that fancy graphical interface. And it's faster. One is because it uses less resources. The other one is because you only need to use keyboard. So you doesn't need to kind of switch between the keyboard and mouse. And it's also what's also related is that you can create scripts very easily. So for many of the graphical user interface tools that you basically cannot do scripts at all. And the last benefit of using command line interface is that so pretty much through different command line interface platforms, the commands remain the same or remain very similar. So you only need to learn it once, and then you can pretty much navigate through all command line interface. However, for different graphical user interface, so for different graphical apps, you need to learn their own specific kind of ways of interaction. So and you need to learn just a lot of different types of apps. Okay. Any questions so far? No. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the Hoffman 2 cluster. So Hoffman 2 cluster is a big computer cluster, and the environment it uses or the operating system it uses is Linux. So there are over 1,300 nodes in the Hoffman 2 cluster, over 20,000 cores in the Hoffman 2 cluster, and over 50 terabytes of memories in the cluster, and the storage and there's over 2.5 PB storage and over 2 PB of backups. So what's the basic structure is that what we will use our own laptop to interact with the Hoffman 2 cluster. And the Hoffman 2 cluster will compose of login nodes, 4 login nodes. So you will be randomly assigned 1 login node every time you log into the Hoffman 2. And the login nodes will be connected to a lot of computing nodes and storage nodes where you will perform your like computing intensive tasks, or where you will store your, say, genetic data or yeah, like your genetics data or other type of data there. Yeah. Okay, any questions so far before getting into the actual usage? Okay, so so how do we start is that we will start our local terminal first. So for a Windows user, the way to start a local terminal is by opening this mobile Xterm software and click that start local terminal. For a Mac OS user, you just need to open up your terminal application, and that's it. Yeah, you're already on your local terminal. Yeah. Any question? maybe. Okay. No, we'll actually use the Hotmail here. Yeah, so. Let me see if other people can use this. So you already have the. Okay, yeah, solve it. Yes, yes, no. Okay, Control C. Yeah, are we on? I think we do. Yeah, yeah, I open you want. Yeah, okay, yeah, we can start configuring. Okay, okay, right, sign it. Okay, open this already. Let's open it. Yes. Stay here. Okay, we'll start. Oh, snap. You don't remember your password. You can't verify. Oh, I mean, yeah, you can keep trying, and if you don't remember, you can estimate it and try to transfer it back. Right, yeah. You can try now if you don't have access. Contact them and ask them to. Yeah, 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 I think it's already there, they just need that. Yeah. Okay, you already know.
Question,
Yeah.
what could be like the mobile sharing and then just like running the like terminal app in Windows?
I never tried it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I just wondered if there was like a distinct reason to use the mobile sharing.
I don't think it's previews, because in some Windows system they don't. So I don't think it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you can try. Yeah, you might.
Okay.
And see if you can log in, that would be easier for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would it be the same notation?
I don't know, because Windows, they have its own shell scripting, so I don't know if you use the same message.
Okay,
Gotcha. Good luck. Yeah, got it. Okay, yeah, I see some people already logged in. So if you haven't logged in, you can try to run this command, SSH with your own username at hoffman2.idre.ucl.edu and try to log in. Yeah. You will, so after you type in this command, you press return key and you will be prompted to enter your password. And so you won't see your password showing up, it will just be blank. But after you type in your password confidently, just press enter again, and you should be able to get in. Yeah, be able to log on to Hoffman.
And so before I start entering the password in the terminal,
Yeah.
is there a way to check? Because I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
But I want to see if I know my password.
Oh, yeah, you can just type in.
Because
If you fail, then you.
Is this what it means? Because I type this in. Yeah.
Well, no, there's no space.
Right here.
They put an extra space between the I.
Oh, and then, but here I tried it
No.
again.
There's a
Oh, okay.
space between the SSH and readers,
Oh, okay.
but not between the S.
I need to.
Yeah, you try that. Yeah, so for this command, the SSH is the name of the software that you are using here, or like the app that you're using here, and the user at Hoffman to the IDE that you said IDE is the like the input to that command. Yeah, the argument for that command. Yeah, so and as the note points out here, so for the command line, all of the characters they type in are case sensitive. And when you type in your password, nothing will show up. So don't be scared or don't feel that you are doing something wrong. That's the expected behavior. It actually happened to me the first time I use it. I wasn't sure how I can make the password show up, so I couldn't log in. Yeah. Okay. Has everyone like logged on, like signed in already? Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not. No, there's no like there should be space between the two H. Space, yeah, and you'll use it. Yeah. I think yes. Yeah, after the past. Yeah, hopefully. I see. Okay. 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 Sure. Okay.
Okay, I really think the second master.
Yeah, you're
Okay, cool.
yeah, nice, yeah. So you're not in, but you will be getting your password. Okay, okay, great. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it seems everyone except you like has signed in to Hoffman. So once you sign in, you will see this thing, your username at a login with a number and a $sign here. So that shows or that indicates you that you are logged in successfully. So the login one here actually indicates you are on one of those 4 login nodes, and login one means the first login nodes. So there's a total of 4. So you could be in login 1, 2, 3, or 4 there. Yeah. Okay. So here just shows that another way you can log into Hoffman is by typing the session. So if you type in the session, I think someone did that, and you will be prompted to enter your remote host name and your password. So you just type in the same thing like your username, the Hoffman 2 address, and you should be able to log in. Yeah. See, that's the Hoffman 2 address. That's your username. And you're okay. Yeah. And again, you will see this there, and which means that you are logged in successfully. Yeah, and for Mac OS user, its life is easier for you. You will just need to open up the terminal app and type in this line of command. It should be getting there. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? No. Okay. So right now everyone's on your Hoffman 2 account. So here's just some simple kind of introduction to what it means. So in the Unix shell that you are on right now, it's basically a place for you to interact with the Unix or Linux system. So if you think that all of the data and tools are at the core of the systems, and you are on the outer side of that ball, and you're interacting with the ball. So basically that's like the shell for you to interact, and it will wait for your command. And after you type in your command, it will execute you, execute the command after you press the enter key. And after finishing each command, it usually will return nothing or return something to if it return nothing, it's a good sign, which means that the tool executed itself successfully. If you get an error message, it means you probably made a typo or you miss some arguments there. Yeah. So we want to know what this part of the command means. So this part of the shell that you're looking at is called a prompt. So a prompt tells you who you are, where you're at. Yeah, basically that's two things tells you. So who you are, you can see your username here. So the first part before the at symbol, that's your username. So and where you are on the login one node. I just mentioned that it's the first login node on Hoffman 2. And the tilde sign, so this is the place that indicates where you are in the file system. And the tilde sign stands for the home directory. So in this case, it indicates that you are at your home directory. And so outside of the bracket, you see a dollar sign. So the dollar sign, so everything beyond the dollar sign is command. So all of the commands that you type in will show up like after it. Yeah. Okay, any questions? Okay. Yeah, let's practice the thing to type something to the command. The command here is echo and the argument here is the hello world. Yeah, just try to print out a line of hello world like what we do usually when we learn a new language. And at the same time, we can also run the bottom line of code to download something for us to work on for the 3-day workshop. Yeah. So the command here would be git clone, and that's the path to the folder that we want to download. Any questions so far? Okay, let me check. Yeah, let me check now. I will get back. Okay. Yeah, and you downloaded that folder, right? Okay. Nice, great. Because having a pipeline, yeah, you want to solve it. It's protect. Yeah. Okay, I see a few people are trying to figure out their password, but everyone else should be able to run that line of commands to print hello world and then to download the folders, right? Okay. Okay, let's move on. So we'll talk about a little bit about the file systems. So the structure of the file systems in Linux looks like a tree, like a hierarchical tree. So we will have a kind of the topmost root folder, which is the name of that folder is just a slash, and every other folder is kind of comes out from that folder or within that folder. And so for example, we have so basically pretty much in every Unix system or Linux system, we will have this folder, and our home directory will be under this folder called home. And in the home folder, we will have a folder of with our username. I think in our case, it will not be directly within the home folder, but the home folder will contain some folder that indicates the first letter of our user name, and then our folder will be within that folder. So yeah, but anyway, so our home directory will be within this folder, and our home directory will have the name of our username. And so all of the folder, so for example, this folder here, we will call a parent folder, and one level down, all these folders are a like a child folder of that parent folder. Yeah. And in Linux, we also call folders directories. So I may refer to these folders directories just interchangeably. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Okay, and also as you log into Hoffman tool, so the place that you will be at right after you log in is at the home directory. So basically you will be, it's someplace for yourself. So all of the files are only editable by you. But it doesn't have a lot of storage space. So usually when you work on your own project, you will need to navigate to somewhere else to work on. But for your home directory, you can save some more like important or private data in your own home directory. Yeah. Okay, any questions? No? Okay. So, and how do we represent a path in this hierarchical tree systems? So there are two ways. One way is to use an absolute path. The other way is to use a relative path. So absolute path means that it's a full path from the root folder, the root directory, this one, the slash one, all the way up to the directory that you are interested in working in. So for example, if you want to move to your home directory, it will be a slash, like slash home, and maybe your username is Bob, like slash home Bob, and everything down there. However, if you want to work with a relative path, then the path starts from where you're at. So for example, if you're at the Eve folder here, so to navigate to this hello world.txt file, you will just put Eve slash hello world.txt. So aside from the first slash, so that's the root folder's name, all of the other slash are, you can think of it as a separator for the folder names. Okay, any questions? No? Okay, so to navigate through the file systems, there are three commands that we use commonly, and they are pwd, cd, and ls. I will talk about what they mean. So for pwd, it simply stands for print working directory. So it will show you it will show you the absolute path to your current working directory. Yeah, so for example, if you type in pwd and press enter, I think in your case, right after you log in, it will just show the /u/home/ the first letter of your username and with your username. So that's where your home directory is. Okay. Yeah, I think everyone try to type in that command and see the output. Does everyone see the expected output from the pwd command? Yeah, nice. Okay. Okay. To move between directories, we use a command called cd. So it stands for change directory, which means that you go from one directory to the other directory. And the syntax of that command is just cd with the input. The input would be the path to a folder of your interest. So we all downloaded this folder successfully, I think. So yeah, if we want to move into this QC biointro to Unix directory, what we want to do is to use a cd QC biointro to Unix. Okay. Can anyone tell me what type of path we're using here? Yes. Yeah, correct. So we're using a relative path here because we know we are already in this home directory and this folder is within our home directory. So we just need to put the name of that directory here. And after you navigate into that directory, and if you press like type in the pwd command again, you'll see now your working directory, your current directory change. It changes from your home directory to this like one level down, like into this QC biointro to Unix directory. I suggest everyone try to run the cd QC biointro to Unix command, and as well as try to type in the absolute path and see both can achieve the same thing. So sometimes I think to think about the scenarios, like when you want to use your relative path, when you want to use your absolute path. So for example, if you want to write up a script that's kind of that's like you're trying to generalize some script and share it to other people. I think in those cases, you want to put the absolute path to your data within the script because no one will be working in your directory and and then they will not be able to use the relative path to access data. However, if you are working on your own, like to do some quick tests, I think you can use your relative path. It's just faster to work with. Yeah, less typing. Yeah. Okay, any questions? Okay, no. Okay. If no, I will introduce three more special symbols. So we talked about a little bit about the first special symbol before, so the tilde sign. So the tilde sign is where you so you've already seen this tilde sign here in the prompt, and that I mentioned, it just shows you it's kind of a special symbol to represent your absolute path to home directory. So if you write, so if you go back to here, so if like let's say we're already in the QC biointro to Unix directory right now. If you right now you type in cd and tilde, you should be able to get back to your home directory. And the second special symbol is the dot, a single period. So that means that stands for the current directory. So if you type in cd dot, you will not move to anywhere else. You will just stay in your current directory because that stands for your current directory. And the double dot, stands for the or represents the path to the parent folder. And if you type in cd dot dot, you will basically go one level back up to your parent folder. So that's how you move back and move forward in the tree-like file system. Yeah. So to move downward, you will type in the name of the specific directory or the folder. To move back, you just type in dot dot. Okay, any questions? Okay, can everyone try to type in all these commands and just try it out and see whether you get everything. Yeah. Let's give it 3 or 5 minutes. No, at least yeah, you can use yours. Yeah, go ahead. You try to type in PWD and see where you are at right now. Yeah. Yeah. Return. Yeah. Yeah. So you are not in open directory right now. So you will navigate to the open directory. And we can use the tilde to navigate to the owner. It's a CD, the tilde sign. Yeah. Yeah. And, okay. And okay, let's try the CD. Yeah, CD. Yeah, CD. Yeah, and the name of the QC file. Input unit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now ready? Yeah, you know why because you have not actual filter and verify that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, oh, because you are missing the ID of oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, has everyone? Yeah, yeah, yes. So okay, yeah, let's start from here. So have you tried the echo command? Or you should type in the echo. See which one. Yeah, I'm now like a spacing between here. How? Oh, this is yeah, you got it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, like that. Yeah. So to navigate into the directory, um, right, the CD say by unit. Have you downloaded that? And hopefully on that is probably um yeah. I'll talk about other things. Right now I feel one. Yeah, like line at the bottom. There was another slide. Yeah, yeah, this one. Have you tried this whole line? No, you need to type the whole line into the. Yeah, I think you can copy paste it from here. No, 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 paste that bottom. I think I use to see. Paste. Okay. Yeah. After we download, try the. Yeah, so now this ready to see. And into the new folder that we just found. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, has everyone tried all of the command on the screen? Okay. Yeah, let's okay, I'll talk about one last symbol which is not on the slide. And then we'll take a short break. Okay. So another symbol that I put here is a short dash. So the short dash stands for the previous folder that you were working in. So for example, if you were working in one directory and you type in like say absolute path or a relative path to a folder that's really far away in the tree systems, and if you want to go back to that original folder that you were working in, you can just type in cd dash. One way to check that is that you can go maybe, yeah. So for example, if I think most of you right now will be in the QC bio intro to Unix directory. If you type cd ... and you go back one level up to your home directory. And right now, if you type cd/, it will go back to the QC bio intro to Unix directory. Yeah, but here in this case, it may not seem that useful because you're just moving between like moving one level down. Yeah, so it's but if you are moving from a folder that's really far away from the other folder, then this can save you a lot of time. Okay, any questions? Can everyone try it? And let me know if it works for you. Just from your current directory, which is QC bio intro to Unix, I think, move type in cd ... So then you are in the home directory, and try to type in cd the short dash. And you should be able to get back to a QC by intro to Unix, right? Okay. Yeah, I see someone nodding. So it works. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop recording. Pause recording. Okay, let's get back to the workshop. So yeah, so everyone just tried all of the commands. I noticed some of you was having a trouble to use some of the symbols, and because you didn't put a space in between the special symbol and the CD. I think one way to think of how we can use this command is thinking that the CD is like the actual commands, and the dots or like the tilde or dot is like the input to the command. So it's like when you are saying you are go back home. So like the home just is short for the full address of your home, and the CD here just means go to. So we are going to some places. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Yeah, and we've already tested all of these questions, practices. So yeah, let's get into the third command that we talked about. So the ls command. So the ls command is just short for list. So what it does is that it lists out all of the information of the files or folders in your current directory. And the syntax of using ls is just to either type in ls and return just as it is, or you can use ls with a file name or directory. They will ls all the information related to that file or directory. Or the third option is you can add a flag and then a file name or directory, so that it will shows you more information than by its default behavior. Yeah, and I will show the three usage one by one. Okay, so let's get into the QC bio intro to Unix directory by typing cd QC bio intro to Unix. And so after you get into the directory, you won't know what's inside yet. And so to know that, we want to use the ls command. So yeah, so if you type in the ls command, you will be able to see 4 things there. There's a readme file, and there are 3 folders, day 1, day 2, and day 3. Normally, well, I mean, it depends on the systems that you're at. Normally, the file and directories will be colored differently. I'm not sure if that's the case for. Oh yeah, you won't see QC about. Yes, this is your folder. We want to get to that folder and then. Now this is okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So so I just look at some my screen. So yeah, the directory will be colored differently from the other files. So you know that. So in your case, if it's true, then you know the directory for folder is a virtual file. Oh, yeah, I think this is an old slide, so they may add new stuff in there, so we don't know more data. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, so you may have more than what I have there, but that's totally normal. That's fine. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you are at the 8, yeah? So you want to go to a phone directory. You want to see go there. Yeah. When we will see the Okay. So when you type in ls, as I described before, it will show you everything in your current directory. However, you can also supply a path to a certain directory that you want to look at. For example, in this case, if you type in ls tilde, then it will show you what's inside your home directory. The content will be very different from this one because that's someone else's home directory. If you do ls tilde, it will show everything in your own home directory. I think if you are using Hoffman tool for your first time, it will be very empty. It will just be the QC Blanco to Unix directory. Yeah, I think that will be the only directory there. Yeah. Has everyone tried the last command? Yeah. If it's not your first time, you will likely see other things there. Yeah. Any question? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Uh, oh, I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it later. Any questions so far on this side? Okay. So now we will talk about the third way of using the ls commands, which can be generalized to many other commands that we are going to talk about in the future, like later today and tomorrow. So for many commands, we can supply a flag or multiple flags. And the flag will change the behavior of the commands from their default behavior to some kind of a fancier behavior. For example, in this case, the flag here will show you more information than what's normally shown to you in the like from the ls commands. So the first flag that we are going to learn is the L command, which stands for long list. So if you type in ls-l, like with a space in between, you will see instead of showing you just the name of the directory and the name of the files there, it will actually show you more stuff. Yeah. And the more stuff that here shows up here have very specific meanings that we'll talk about. So the first column indicating all of these things, the dash RW all the way up to here. It means it represents the permission of the file. By permission, it means who can access the file, who cannot access the file, and what type of access you have. And we'll talk more about that later. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. Wait, when do we talk about that? Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But just know that the first big chunk shows you what type of permission and who have those permissions to your file. Okay. The second column is 1, 2, 2, 3. Here indicates the number of hard links to the file. Someone asked what hard link is. So there can be other type of files that doesn't have a content, but it directly links to this file. So every time you click that file, it goes to this file. So that's a hard link. Yeah. Like number of other files that's linked to this file. Yeah. And the third column here, so which is this, is basically your well, so here is the username of the owner or the author, but yeah, it's the username of the owner of the file. In most cases, it's your name, but if you're accessing other people's data, then it will be other people's name. And the fourth column, this Matteo Pellegrini, is the group the name of the group that you're at. The name of the group this file is at. So basically this means it's the Martell's group, the data from Martell's group. And the fifth column indicates the size of the file. So in bytes, so it will be very large number here. And the sixth to eighth column, so from here to here, is the timestamp. So it's the last time that the file was modified. Okay, and the last column is just the name of the file. So the last column was the thing showing up here. Yeah, but now you get more information by putting the -L here. Okay. Has everyone tried to run that line? Okay. Okay. Another flag that's very useful is the -A flag. So the -A flag means stands for all. So it will show you. So once you throw that A flag into the ls command, it will show you all of the files within your current directory. So what I mean by all of the files or folders, so just like in your Windows or Mac OS, you can have some hidden files that's invisible to you. So in Linux system, you can also have those hidden files. The way the Linux system kind of hide the file from you is by like starting the file name with a dot. So whenever a file name starts with a dot, it will not be it will not shows up regularly when you type in the ls. So it's only after you add that -A flag it will shows up. Yeah, it's kind of not really invisible to you. It's just not like you need some actual flags to enable that behavior. Yeah, I think most likely when you type in the ls-a, you will see this .git folder. Yeah, right. Yeah, and another thing to note is that we can combine multiple flags together. You can have L and A here, so that means you are using the long list format as well as showing up all of the files within your folder. And the order doesn't matter. So it could be -LA or -AL, it doesn't matter. As long as both are there, you should be getting the same results. And you can test that by run either -LA or -AL. You should be able to see the same outputs. Okay, any questions so far? No? Okay, the next two flags, to be honest, I've pretty much never used those two flags in my research, but I think once in a while you may want to use it. So the first flag is the -S, big S. So it stands for sort, and it specifically means sort by size from big to small. So if you throw a big S there, it will sort the files, sort your outputs by the size of the file they have. And you can also use -T, which will sort your data by time from new to old. So you can see, yeah, you wouldn't be able to see here because you downloaded all of the data at the same time. Let me check. No, you are in the center. If you just have more data. Yeah, you are in the web. You are in the web. Yeah. Okay. Okay. But I run by this two commands, ls-ls and ls-lt. small L and big S. Okay, I noticed that so for the second one, the ls-lt, it's really hard for you to see the effect because all of the files were downloaded at the same time, like today, right? So I think one way to do it is we can use another command that I will introduce tomorrow, but we can use it right now. It's called a command called touch, touch. So you can do touch and space, and maybe put the readme.md there. And so what the effect will be, the touch will access the file and modify the timestamp of the file. So it will not be whenever you download it, it will be the like when you run the command, right? Yeah, and after you touch that file, you can run the ls-lt again. You see the position of that file goes up to the top because you just modified it. But yeah, but like but you don't modify the content, you just modify the timestamp. Yeah. Oh, do you see that? Do you see the effect? You run the touch. Oh, there's another command that will but you'll see it. Yeah, there's a third one. But there's space. Yeah, exactly. So the time address and the key means for by time, right? Yeah, so this one's already at the top. If we type another file, touch and write this exactly the same. Yeah, it's a story by time. Okay, yeah, and then you run after you run the touch command, and then you run the ls-lt again. The dash key is stored by time. So then this file that you just touch will go to yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to just show the effect of because normally all of them are the same time, actually. So then actually it doesn't work because it's like I said now. So if some file is newer than the others, it will work. That's the difference. Another one. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I was saying that. Yeah, if we touch some file and we run that file is the file size. Okay, any question so far on the slide? No? Okay. There are a few more flags that we want to learn. So this one is quite important. I think I use it a lot. The -h command. The -h command just means that making the outputs more human readable. So if you recall, when we run the -l command, I mentioned that all of the file size like was given in bytes. However, if you want to put in a more human readable format, you just put -lh. Like, I think you don't need to put s here, but you can. So if you do -lh, it will show you it instead of like 4,000 bytes, now it becomes 4K, which is more like, which is easier for you to understand. Yeah. And if you try it, if you just do ls-h, actually it will not take effect because normally it doesn't show you the file size. So the h always comes with like it's always combined with the -l so that the file size like will show up, and as well as in a human readable format. Yeah. So you will never use -h alone. Yeah. And the -r means reverse order. So whatever sorting that we have been trying, like the -s or -t, if you just throw a r there, it will just reverse the order of like how the files were like showing up. Okay. Okay, any questions? All right, have you tried to type in all those commands? See the effect? Okay, so there's a few tips about how we can move faster in the shell. So the first tip is that we can use the up and down arrow to go back to our history of commands. So let's say, yeah, remember you asked this question. So if like, let's say if you run some command before and now you want to reuse it, you just need to keep pressing the up arrow until you reach that command, and then you can press return again and then reuse that command. And to go back down, if you go too far and you want to move back down, you just press the down arrow. Another very important, very useful tip is that we can use the tab key to perform auto completion. So let's say, for example, if you, let's say we were trying to run the touch command, you want to touch the readme.md file. Instead of typing out all of the readme, you can just type R, maybe R or RE, and then press tab. It will auto complete the file name for you so that you don't need to type in all those things. And that's especially in like I think like using the sequence data as an example. So a lot of sequencing data, they have extremely long name, like with like 20 or 30 characters. You don't want to type in all those characters because chances are, or like very likely, you will make typos there. So you want to just type in the first few and do auto completion. It will auto complete up to a certain place, and then you can type in more characters and do auto completion again, so that you can save you a lot of time and actually makes your work more accurate. Yeah. So the tab key, you will use that very often. Yeah. Another useful thing about tab is that okay, another useful usage of tab is that, so let's say everyone try to do like say CD, and if you press a single small d here, like what it will does, yeah, like CD and small d, and if you press tab, like what it will do. Yeah. What? Yeah, yeah, and at that time you don't know what else in your folder yet, so you can press the tab twice, and it will show up all of the files there that start with the date, and you will know which one you choose from. Yeah, so you can press it once, it will auto complete up to a certain point, and if you press it twice again, and it will show you what other files are there for you to kind of choose. Yeah. And the third tip is that there's a special command called history. If you type in history and type in return, it will open up, it will show you all of the commands that you have run so far in this shell. Like for Hoffman 2, you have 4 login nodes. I think in many times the history is specific to login nodes. So if you log in to login node 1 and you type in history, it will be different from the history saved in login node 2, but it will just save all of the commands history. Yeah. Yeah, I think Hoffman 2 wipe it once in a while because it just like takes up so much space.
Like what's the
Oh, you like for you? I don't know if you can delete it. Yeah, I think it's they remove it once in a while. Yeah. Yeah, maybe there's a way. I can look it up. Yeah. And another very useful command is clear command. So usually after you run a few commands, your screen becomes very busy. You can type in a clear and press return or enter, and everything on your screen will be moved out of your way, and you will have a very clean screen to work with. And it's actually a very smart command because it just moves all of the old commands up instead of deleting it. So if you scroll up, you will just get back for your all of your old outputs. Yeah, you can try it. Yeah.
create spaces?
Create spaces.
Like, yeah, the thing for myself.
Yes, as we can. Oh, I when you do type in the third module, yeah, you got credit. Yeah, just for yourself. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? Has everyone tried those tips? Yeah. Okay. I feel like we've already tried those practice, right? Already, I think we've listed file folders in long formats. We went back to a home directory. Also, has everyone run the clear command on your screen? Yeah, and saw what it does. Yeah. No. Okay. Okay. Can you write it now? What? What? Yeah. Yeah, try to clear. Yeah, try to clear. Clear. Yeah. Okay, now you see it. Yeah, and it's not like it does not delete your own data, it just moves it out of the way. So it's a very smart, yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow you can do access. I think Hoffman maybe delete it once every quarter, if I recall. But they have a schedule not. But so I think every time they do the dependence, we will definitely clear it. Yeah. Tomorrow you still have access to your own budget. Okay. Okay. If there's no question, we will get into what is file permission, like what file permission is on the Linux system. So as I mentioned, file permission just means who can access your file and what type of access they have, right? So the who question here have 3 different categories related to that. So one is the owner group, which will be just you. The group will just be everyone that belongs to the same PI in our Hoffman 2 cases. Okay. So everyone in your lab, maybe. And the others will be just everyone else, like not in your group. So so for example, on campus, we have a few large groups. For example, the Martels group or the e-asking group. So those are a few PIs that owns a lot of resources like computing nodes, and a lot of people will be under their group. Okay, and in this, so places you have, I think, 10 slots. So from the second to the fourth slot, it records the permission for the owner category. And the next 3 slots records the permission for the group category. And the last 3 slots record the permission for the other category. Okay, and the first 1 slot indicates the type of the file. So if it's a slash, then it means it's a regular file. So text file in this case. If it's a D, it means this is a directory. So it's a folder. And we all know day 1 is the folder. The readme.md is just a text file here. Yeah. Okay. And for each category, there are 3 types of permission. So basically means what you can do. So the first permission is R. R means read. And the second one is W, means like meaning write. And the last one means execute. So executable. So if anywhere you see a dash, it means that category doesn't have that permission. And if you see a R or W, it means that that category has that permission. So for example, in the first line, it means that the owner will have a read and write access to the file, but not executable access. Then the group category and the other category will only have read access, but not going to be able to edit the file. So write means editing. The executable permission is slightly more interesting. Sometimes you have, like, say, binary tools like softwares, then you need to execute them. So that's where the executable permission comes in. Yeah. Okay, any questions so far? No, okay. And for directory, it's a little bit more complicated. So normally you need, like for the group category and other category, they need both read and executable permission to be able to access the folder. So to go into the folder and look inside. Yeah. So so the executable here doesn't really mean running softwares. It means just go into the folder and look inside. Okay. Yeah. Okay, any questions? No? Okay. Okay, so here's some actual information. So instead of simple dash or D, you can also have a L symbol at the first slot. It would be in link. So it could be a hard link, as we just introduced, or soft link. So it basically just means some file is not a actual file, but it's just a representation of the other files. So for the groups, we have like owner. So most likely it's you, the group, and other group, the other category. And so there's another way, like a numerical way we can represent the permission. So instead of write R, W, and X, we can also use number 4, 2, and 1 to represent that permission. So, and for the 3 category, we can sum the number up by and then to represent the total permission for that category. So for example, if we have RWX for the owner group, and we have only R for the group and the other group, or the other category, the first one would be 4 plus 2 plus 1, and so 7 here. And the other two would just be a 4. So if you just write 744, it indicates this type of structure. Yeah. And the representation is unique. Because if you see, if you only have R, and then it's going to be 4. If you have RW, it will be 6. And if you have like everything, it's a 7. So you won't have any kind of ambiguity there. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. So we talked about how we can check the permission and how we can interpret it, the output of that permission. Oh, okay, let's get back. Yeah, sorry about the charger thing. Yeah, the battery thing. Okay. Does anyone have questions on this slide about file permission? No? Everyone understand it? Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about how we can modify permissions. For example, if you want to give someone else permission to your file, like the most likely, normally they have a read access maybe, then you want to give edit permission to them, write permission to them, or you want to reduce permission for someone. If they used to have write access, but now you don't want to give them. So we can all use this command called chmod. So it stands for change mode. So change mode just means permission here, like modify file permission for someone. So the way you can use it, so there are a few different ways. The most important input is first the name of the command, change mode, and the name of the file or directory that you want to change the permission. And everything in between is how you want to change permission. So for example, you can use the numerical the representation, or you can use the letter representation. So, and there are also two ways you can think of it. One is that you assign a new permission for each category, like each group, or you can give access, give permission to a specific group. So the way you do it is that, for example, it's 744 here. So we saw the 744 means read, write, and executable for the owner category and only read permission for the other two categories. So you can do change mode 744 and give that to this file. Or you can specifically give the user category. So it's the owner category, an extra executable permission in this case. So specifically, so we have the user category, the group category, and the others category. Or the all means all three. So you can type out the full name, or you can just the first letter as a like shortcut, like a shorthand name for them. And you write plus or minus, meaning adding actual permission to that group or reducing a specific permission for that group, like from that group. And then you type in the type of permission. The type of permission would be R, W, or X. So read, write, or X. Yeah. So in full, so in English, so this sentence would be mean you are giving the user group an executable, an actual executable permission, like for this file. Any questions? Am I explaining it clearly? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I think that's a good question. So normally you can only change permission for the file that you own, so under your name. So if it's under someone else's name, you won't be able to change. Yeah. So they will need to change it for you. Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of like a really specific question, but when I was playing with the commands, like I changed for one of the commands, right? Give everybody like R, W, X. Now like it's highlighted in green. And I was like, what is happening? Why is it doing this? Right? What is this?
Oh, the green one means you're adding this executable information there. So the file becomes executable. That's not a regular file anymore, it's an executable file, well, or the Linux system treats it as an executable file, so that's why it's included. So the green, just kind of, way to indicate it's like executable file. But whether it's actually executable by some, executed by some software, then it depends on the content as well. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Has everyone tried these two commands on the README file? Yeah, let's run that as a practice. And also try the second practice. Yeah.
Every time that I want to close my, I want to open the folder, I have to go to CC, the name of the
Either you yourself or the whole group or everyone else. You cannot be specific. And you don't need that just like G or you yeah, and then. Oh no, to search for means you are assigning permission for all three categories together. Yeah, but if you don't assign to G or anything, then you category only, you just need to say what yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, has everyone tried to convert the day one folder to a private folder? Just do either 700, right? Or you can do the minus, right? The minus X, yeah. You can do minus RX, so you're reducing both read and executable permission for that group, yeah. Any questions? No? Okay. Okay, if not, we'll talk more ways that we can manipulate files or directories. So just like working in a Windows platform or a Mac OS platform, you can create or delete files or directories. You can copy and move files and directories. You can also look at it, modify the files. You can also do compression and decompression, or you can do upload and download. So all of these operations can also be done in a Linux environment. Yeah, so and we'll talk about each of them later. So as we've already seen, so the general syntax for any command in the Linux system is basically just a command space the input, like the target file or target folder. And you can throw some flags in just to modify the behavior of the command, right? Yeah, one example is the ls command -l and like the name of the file that you want to see, like the size, or you want to see the permission type. Yeah. Okay, so how we can create a directory or a file in this case. So the command to create a directory is called mkdir, which stands for make directory, which obviously it will just create a directory for you. And the way you can do it is make directory plus like a name of the directory or the path to the directory. And if you want to create a new file, we've already talked about this command before, touch. So if you touch a file that's already present, you will modify the timestamp as we just did. If your touch file that's not there yet, it will create a new file, a new empty file with that name. Yeah. So let's try. Let's try to run this. You can make a directory with any names. Yeah, here's like my folder, where you can create a folder with your own like name, like the name that you like, and you also touch a new file. And you can see, and if you run ls, you will see this. There's a new file that you create and a new folder that you create. And after you created a folder and a file, you can try to rerun those two commands again and to see what would happen if you run make directory that's already there. You will get an error message that the folder cannot be created. Yeah. For the touch command, like we already learned it, you will just change the timestamp. Any questions? No? Okay, has everyone tried the command? Yeah. Okay. And we'll talk about the next command, which is the delete command. So the delete command is just one command for both regular files and directories. And it's called rm, which stands for remove. To remove a regular file, you just put rm and the path to that file. So well, there's no example. Yeah, if you want say, yeah, if you want to remove this myfile.txt, you just type in rm myfile.txt. However, if you want to remove a folder like my folder, you will need a flag called -r, which stands for recursively. The reason you need to add that flag is because the folders may contain other files and other folders. So if you just remove that folder, there's some other things contained in it. So you want to remove the folder recursively, which means you want to remove everything inside the folder and also the thing within the folder that's within this folder. So you want to do rm-r and my folder. So in that way, you will be able to remove, like delete the folder correctly, like properly. There's another flag. Sometimes it's very useful. It's called the -i. So if you run rm-i, the -i stands for interactively, and you supply a name of folder or name the file, it will actually prompt you and asking you whether you want to remove the directory. And then you need to type in either Y for yes or N for no. So it's a way, kind of like an extra layer of protection in case you accidentally delete your own data. Because in the Linux system or Unix system, there's no trash bin. So basically, if you delete something, it's gone forever. So you won't be able to recover it. Yeah. So if you just randomly type in rm and some data and the name of data, it's gone forever. Yeah. So sometimes you want to put that -i there, so it kind of asks you, and you will have time to reflect on your actions. And if you don't want to do it, then you can press no, and it will save your data. Okay. And the -v, which stands for verbose. It means to outputs every action that the remove command is doing. So basically, if you are doing remove a folder and the folder may contains like say 100 files, it will just shows you which file is being deleted right now. So you know which file is being deleted. Yeah, you can try each of the commands like within your own folder, maybe with the file that you just created, and see the behavior. And the last flag here is false. So it means remove without asking. So sometimes when there's so for example, if you have -i flag, it will ask you whether you really want to remove the file, and then you put the -f there, it will not ask you. So it's kind of the opposite effect of the -i command. Yeah. So for many people, just to protect their own data and prevent themselves from accidentally deleting the wrong file, they like to make their RM commands into running rm-i automatically. So every time they run rm, it will just like behind the scene, it will run rm-i. So every time they delete files, they will be prompted to ask you whether you want to remove the file. So it's like a actual layer of protection. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Yeah. So and as it mentions here, so be very cautious with the delete command, because you cannot undo your delete, like undo your deletion in the Linux system. There's no backup. If you accidentally delete some files on Hoffman tool, fortunately, in some folders, not all of, for some folders, they do a temporary backup for you. So in some situations, if you ask them, they may be able to recover it, but it's not, how should I say, it's not up to date. It's not refreshed like every minute. So let's say if you did something, they may back up your data like once a week. So you may have some older version, but it's kind of like usable, but not like up to date. So you may be able to recover some of the files, but not all of them. One way to prevent you from deleting your data entirely is to back up your own files. You may kind of copy your files and back up it somewhere. So if you delete it, you have at least some intermediate files to work with. And the third way to prevent that is that you can, for some files that you don't need to edit, you can give only read access to yourself. So even you yourself won't be able to delete it unless you change the permission first and then delete it. Yeah. Okay, any question? Any question? Okay. I think we've all done the first practice. Has everyone tried the second practice? Remove the folder and file that you created in interactive mode. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Maybe try it in 2 minutes. Okay, it seems okay, everyone gets it? Okay, the next command that we're going to talk about is the copy command. So it's CP stands for copy. So the copy needs two inputs, like two arguments. One is the source file that you are copying and the destination place that you are copying to, right? So that's exactly what's shown here. So you have a CP command, and the first argument is the file that you are copying, and the second argument is the where you want to copy to. And there are also place for different flags to change the behavior. So the first flag is again the -r flag, which stands for recursively, because if you are copying a directory, you want to copy both the directory and everything inside the directory. You can also copy the directory, the file or directory in an interactive mode. So it will just ask you to confirm before you overwrite something. Because yeah, if you are copying so the copying, okay, so the copying is slightly different from copy in Windows or Mac OS, because in Windows or Mac OS, you are copying and then you need to paste it, right? But here it's just one action. So if you're copying something, it goes directly to the place already. So it's a combined action, right? Yeah, so that's why the interactive mode can be useful. So if there's already some file in your destination folder with the same name as your source file, it can be overwritten. So yeah, sometimes you want to put the -i flag so that it will ask you whether you want to overwrite it or not. Yeah, and the last one is verbose. So if you're copying, like say a directory with 100 files, and you want to know which file is being copied right now, you want to add this -v flag so that you know what's going on exactly. Okay, so here just shows what it looks like, but I also suggest you to also run it on your own Hoffman 2 account to see the difference. So you can yeah, so we can copy a file. So in the first example, we are copying the file readme.md to the same directory, but with a different name. So it's kind of like duplicating the file with a different name. In the second example, we are copying a whole directory and give it a different name within the same folder. So it's kind of like giving a backup to a directory. And in the third example, we are copying one file into a directory. So that will goes into the day one backup folder instead of in the same directory as in the first example. Okay, can everyone try these three examples on their own laptop? Okay. Yeah. What? Yes, but no. Yeah. Either yes or and no. Yeah. If you want to move it, right. Okay, has everyone tried the 3 examples here? Okay, any questions on the slide? No? Okay, yeah, let's move on to the next command, which is move command. So the move command would be similar to a cut and paste action in a Windows or macOS system. So basically you are instead of copying, you are just moving that file to a new position. But the syntax is very similar. Oh yeah, so MV stands for move. So the syntax is very similar. Just move the source and the name of the source file and the destination. For the destination, it could be a new name to the file, or it could be just the name of a directory. So it will then be moved into that directory with the original name. Okay, so, and there are actually 2 okay, so there are 2 scenarios that you want to use the move command. One is just by definition, if you want to move a file to a new place. Another way of using it is if you want to rename a file folder. So basically, if you look at the example here, if you want to move this file to the same spot with a different name, then effectively you are just renaming the file, right? And if you are trying to move it to a different place, like for example, if you are creating this new folder called temporary temp, and you are moving this temp.md to this folder, then it's not going to be within the QC file intro to Unix directory anymore. It will be within this tmp directory. So there are two scenarios that you can use the move command. Any questions? Okay, yeah. If not, let's try these two examples. Like in the slide, yeah. Any question so far on the slide? Oh, it's some file that, okay, so in the first example, you move that readme into tmp directory, so you are renaming that file. Yeah, it's renaming the readme of the tmp to the tmp directory. Yes, so that's new file that like a rename file. Yeah. And the tmp folder is if you move the day1 backup folder to the tmp folder. Basically, you are renaming that folder. Yeah. Yeah. So in the first example, you rename node. In the second example, you put one inside. Okay, yeah. For the one that's finished, you can try the practice. I think no, actually the practice is the same as the example. Yeah, just finish it. Okay, actually, someone just asked a very good question. So he asked me, how do we, so let's say in this example, we move the tmd.md into the tmp folder. How do we move it out? So like move it back to the current folder, right? So the way you can do it is that you can type move tmp/tmp.md, like in the first position, right? In the second position, the destination position, you can put a single dot here, which indicates the current directory. So you are moving it out, or you can navigate into the TMP directory, so like cd TMP, and you move, and then you can type in move tmp.md, and in the destination position, you put dot dot, so your parent folder, right? So there are two ways you can move it out. Yeah, it depends on which way you like. Yeah. Okay, any questions so far? If no, I'm going to talk about some more commands before we end today. We have like 20 minutes. So the next command I'm going to talk about is called cat. So it's not the animal cat, but it's short for concatenation. So there are also a few scenarios that you can use the cat command, but the way it shows here is you can use the cat command to view the content of a file. So, and the way the cat command shows you the content file is just to print all of the contents onto your screen. So if you try to run the cat day1 test, so there's a file called text in day1 folder. So if you do cat day1 test, the content is just hello world, and you can see the content. So that's just very simple. Normally, I would not suggest you to view the content file using the cat command because it prints out all of the content onto your screen. So if you have a sequencing data, for example, that could be tens of gigabytes, even terabytes, right? And that will just overflow your screen. So your computer will crash, basically, or the Hoffman 2 cluster will crash. So, but for very small file, you can use the cat command to view the content. Okay, any question? Okay, if no question, we'll talk about the next command. The next command is slightly more complicated because it's not a command. It's also a editor that's kind of inherent to the Linux or Unix platform. So pretty much every Linux platform has this text editor. So it's like Notepad in your Windows system, or could be the, I don't know what's the text editor for the Mac OS, but yeah. Yeah, so the command is VI, short for Visual Editor. So it's the default text editor for all of the Unix-like systems. So no matter it's Linux, Unix, or Hoffman tool, so you will also find this tool. And there's a slightly updated version called VIM. So it's like Vim, VI improved. So it's pretty much the same text editor, but it has a little bit more functionalities built in. So the syntax would be to run VI plus a file name. So again, similar to the touch command, if the file is already there, it will just open up the file and you can start editing the file. If it's not there, it will start a new file, like a new empty file, and you can start inputting, like type things in the file. Okay. Any questions so far? So, but I'll talk about the slides, and then I will go to my Hoffman 2 account so that we can look at it together, because I think it's better to look at it interactively together. So once you are inside the file, why don't I stop right now? So let me see. All right, just 1 second. Let me share the screen for you. Okay, now I'm here. Yeah. Okay, so we just talked about it. If we want to use the vim command, you will just type in vim plus the file name. Maybe we just want to test test Unix 1, and you press enter. It will open up a new interface. Looks like this. And at this spot, you will not be able to type in anything right now. Yeah, if you try to type anything on your keyboard, nothing will happen. Oh, actually, yeah, nothing will happen, right? And as it shows up on this slide here, you need to type in I first to get into this insertion mode. And once you're at the insertion mode, if I type in I, yeah, if you type in I, you see there's an indicator. We are at the insert mode, and then you can start typing stuff, and that will be more like a regular text editor. So you can start writing a lot of things. And if you press the ESC escape key, you see it, you exit the insert mode and you get the normal mode, which again, you won't be able to type anything. Yeah, it won't work. Oh, it won't work. Yeah. Because that's how you type in stuff in the Vim editor or the VI editor. Everyone gets it? Okay. Let's say if we want to do the insert mode, type in the hello world and press escape. So okay, now we type in a line of text there. Okay, everyone is following me? Any question? No? Any questions? No? Okay. So in the next slide, so that's how we enter text into the editor. And the next step would be how we can close the VI, like the Vim editor. So it was actually a like nightmare for me when I started because I didn't know how to close it. So I had to just close the whole terminal app to close it. But that's not the correct way to do it. So yeah, the correct way to do it is to type in the colon first. So for colon, there are a few different characters that you can type in. So well, basically two options. You can type in the W, which means write, and write here means save. So if you do colon W and return, it saves the change that you just made, but you won't exit. Yeah, you won't exit the text editor. You will. The next step would be to type in colon again and type in Q. So Q stands for quit, and then you type. You press the return key again. Then you will exit safely exit the Vim editor. You can also combine those two characters. You press like you type in colon WQ, so you save and quit at the same time, and that works. However, if you don't want to save your edit, so if you just save without like quit without saving the change, you just do colon Q exclamation mark, and that will just force to quit without saving. So yeah, so let's try it. So I already type in colon here. I press W and Q. Yeah. and I press return, so you exit safely. And we can try that cat command. We want to cat test the file that we just created. You can see the content is hello world, right? If we want to change the content of that file, like test Unix 1, we can press I again. Well, actually, we can move the cursor around with your arrow key and press I at any position and start inserting from that position, right? And we can use the return key to change lines. For example, we want to type in some other things like, yeah, we can add hi. However, if you don't want to save it, just do :Q exclamation mark and press return again. And if we run the cat test Unix, you see that change is not saved. Okay. Okay, any question? No, it didn't work. Yeah, that's up. Yeah, I know you and yeah, you just created that. Yeah. Okay. So you created that's a compliment. I think you built to the two so that research in normal, but you didn't do work that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you need to add a name. Yeah, you have to add a name. Any questions? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now you're at it. I guess it's not showing up. Yeah, it's not showing up here, but right now you're at the normal. In insert, you delete and insert. You press I first. Right. Yeah. Okay, now you delete. Press delete. Yeah. Okay. Then you press it. Okay, now you're at normal. Yeah. And not active. Now you type in the folder. Folder. Start with you see the one for start with so you are saving and like start with. Yeah. You are saving and saving. Okay, not a good thought. Yeah. Like if you want to write some script, yeah, here, but you will use that idea. Yeah.
Have to say for a few years.
Why got a master's degree? Okay. I think I'll stop here, but we have a little bit more time, so I will talk a little bit more about the Vim editor. So there are actually thousands of different I would say like hotkeys or like shortcuts that you can like you need to memorize and you can do it in the Vim editor. For example, we talked about how we can insert characters is by pressing I. So we're in the insert mode, right? So we can start typing stuff there, like hello world, like hi, something like that. However, we can also press like, yeah, so if you see the like the nuance, like the little difference there. So we're at the O, right? So if you press I, so it starts insert in front of the O, right? However, if we start at the O, we press A, you start inserting after the O. So one stands for insert, the other one stands for append. So one starts inserting in front of the, like before, like in front of the place that you're at, the other one starts typing like right after the place you're at. So that's the tiny little difference. And also you can insert, you can press capital I, okay? So it's Shift I, and you will start inserting from the beginning of the line. And you can do capital A, then you will start like inputting from the end of the line. So there are so many different hotkeys that you can do. So that's why after you get very familiar with this editor, like text editor, you can be extremely efficient, but it definitely requires a lot of memory. Another useful thing I think we should all learn, remember, besides exiting the text editor, is that if you type in hello world, okay, so another thing is that if you type in O, you will start inserting from the next line. Okay, so maybe we do hello world 2, something like that. Okay, and if we want to delete some of the lines, so delete, so you can, so there are two ways to delete. You can do delete in the insert mode. So you can, you just do the like backslash, right? The backslash, you can delete it character by character. However, if you want to delete the whole line, you can also do that in the normal mode. Okay, so we're in a normal mode, right? And the shortcut or the hotkey to do it is press D and press D twice, and that line goes away. The D hotkey is can have a lot of kind of tweaks, so you can delete certain lines from that position, or you can delete certain characters from that position, or you can even delete up to certain character. Like for example, you want delete all the way up to the first A that you encounter, something like that. So, but I think what's important is that I think deleting lines is very commonly used. So that's why I mentioned here. So yeah, if you do it on your own, like just type D very quickly twice, yeah, you delete that whole line. What else? Maybe another hotkey that's sometimes useful is if you want to like say copy the hello world line, copy it and paste it. The copy is 2 Y's, double Y. So if you press Y twice and like at any position you press P, it will just copy that line and paste it to the line below your current position. Yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah, like insert, delete, copy and paste. Yeah, I think that's three things that puts you at a good start, I think. Okay, it's I think it's time. Yeah, so that's the end of today's workshop. If you have any questions, please ask me. And I will stop share and yeah, let's ask questions.